Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So we have already started lesson number 10, and today we will be continuing from what we have done in the last video. So according to what we did in the last video, I think we have to start from page number 93. Sorry. So discuss, have you recently read or heard about any country attacking or going to war with another country? So it's asking about if you have the information regarding any war going around with other country. Find out what was the reason for this war, what kind of weapons were used in this war. So if we are talking about the war nowadays, or the recent activities in the war, so they use nowadays plane, tank, machine guns, missiles and helicopters etc. are used nowadays in war. What kind of destruction was caused because of this? Obviously, any war causes huge loss of life and property. Find out. So as I told you that whatever textual questions are there in your textbook, the answer of textual question will be provided in the PDF format on the WhatsApp group. So you have to download it from the WhatsApp group and you have to copy it in your classroom notebook. So regarding the textual question and answer, all the answers related to textual question or the questions given in your textbook will be provided in the PDF format on the WhatsApp group. So the big gun that Sridhar saw was made of bronze. Have you seen anything made of bronze? So we have seen, I think you have seen diyas and statues made of bronze. Tribal people have been using bronze to make many things since thousands of years. One wonders how they took out copper and tin from the deep mines, melted these metals and turned them into beautiful things. So here we are talking about alloy, and you will be learning about the details of alloy in the higher classes. Find out from your elders about some of the things made from bronze that were or are still used in your house. So you need to gather information about things made of bronze, and you will get the information from your elders about the things that you used or that your family used in your house made of bronze. From its color, try to identify which one of them is made from copper, which one from brass, and which one from bronze. So you have to identify according to the material used for making the thing. So when there was no telephone, so one important point is highlighted by using green background, and it's about the communication. When there was no telephone, Didi asked us to wait at the king's palace. She herself went to Fateh Darwaja. A while later, we heard Didi's voice alert, "I am Sultan Abdul Hassan. I am very fond of music and Kuchipudi dance." We all laughed. We were surprised how Didi's voice could be heard from so far. So she later told us that if you stand at Fateh Darwaja, whatever you speak can be heard at the king's palace. So it's about the communication through communication between a person when they are staying very far away from each other, and it's a way of communicating without using telephone. Arrangements for water. The pictures on one picture is provided in your textbook, so you have to look at this picture and you have to summarize, or you have to identify the process which is going on or which is provided in the picture. The picture shown here is made after seeing a very old painting of those times. Can you think why blocks have been used here? So when you look at the picture, you will find that 2 blocks are used here, and it's because it is used to draw water. Use your hand movement to show in which direction the drum attached to the rod moves when the blocks move. So the drum attached, so with the help of block, water is drawn from well and it is moving in anti-clockwise direction. In which direction would the tooth will move? Tooth will move in the clockwise direction. So it's just opposite to the movement of the drum. According to the picture provided in your textbook, look at this pole shown under the ground joins with another wheel which has a number of pots on it. So the detail of the structure or the detail of the machine or mechanism used in the during the process of drawing water from the well is given in your textbook, and along with the picture. I mean, picture is provided so that you can understand the process easily. So now imagine how would this garland of pots lift water from the well. You now get some idea about how the tanks could have been filled by lifting water from the wells. Even today we can see clay pipes in the walls of the fort. These pipes would have been used to carry water to different places in the palace. So one picture is also provided in which clay pipes are made visible. With the help of this picture we can understand that through a clay pipes water are transported to different places in the palace. So where else have you seen such wheels attached to each other, for example in the gear of a cycle or somewhere else? So the mechanism which is given in your textbook, when you look at the mechanism you will find that the similar mechanism is used in some other device. Look around and find out how water is pumped up from the ground to the higher places. How is water pumped up using electricity? How is water lifted without electricity? So water, with the help of electricity, electric pump. Nowadays we use electric pump to transport water from water to different places with the help of water pump. By using electricity, of course, water is sucked with the help of water pump and is transported to different places. What a sad sight. Talking, whistling and listening to our own echo, we were walking through this Maharav arc. Sridhar, oh, the bridge feels so cold in this tunnel. Bridge means slow wind, we can say. Salja, it was written that soldiers stay here. Sridhar, see this board, but look what the wall is like. So a board is provided in which it is written as writing on the wall is prohibited, but but on the wall many things are written, which is of course opposite to the notice provided with the help of board. So think how this wall has seen thousands of years go by. It has seen kings and queens, horses and elephants, war and peace, but we have spoiled it in just a few years. So how this wall has been thousands of years go by. Masigi phalang se duki matik kuire. And akhona loi manghanle isallaga haini ma haini isiko. So Kalyani, I don't understand what kind of fun do people get in writing their names all over the place like this. So writing useless things, meaningless, unrelated things on the wall, it makes the wall dirty, and it is also mentioned in your textbook that there is no fun in writing on the wall. So close your eyes and go back in time. Imagine that you are in those days when there was a busy town inside Golconda. Think about the questions given below and discuss in class. You could even put up a play. So it's about going back to time and trying to understand the way of living during those days, how people used to live during those days. So you can even put up a play in order to understand the nature of the people and the environment during those days. What is the Sultan doing in the palace? What kind of clothes is he wearing? Obviously, traditional clothes would be there. What dishes are being offered to him, but why does he seem so worried, and in what language he is talking? Imagine the rooms in the palace, the beautiful carpets and curtains, the fountains on the terrace, and the sweet smell of roses and chameli. Where is this coming from? What are different kinds of factories? You can see how many people are working there. What are they doing? What are they wearing? How long do you think they work? So when you compare the nature of living and the nature of work with the modern days, we can imagine that there will be, or there is a big difference between the nature of living and the nature of work. So look there, see how finely those craftsmen are carving the stones using a chisel and hammer. Can you see the stone dust in the air? Do you think the stone dust would harm them in some way? ꯃꯇꯝꯗꯨꯗ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ craftsmen ꯍꯛꯅꯕ ꯄꯥꯏꯖꯦꯒ ꯅꯨꯡꯙꯪꯒꯅ ꯍꯛꯑꯒ ꯁꯦꯝꯃꯤꯕ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯗꯣ. So the beautiful designs, the beautiful carvings on wall and door using chisel and hammer during those days, you can imagine the nature of work during those days by observing the carving or the work on the wall with the help of chisel and hammer. And it is also mentioned about dust in air. ꯃꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯎꯐꯨꯟꯗꯨꯅ ꯊꯕꯛ ꯁꯨꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯅꯨꯡꯉꯥꯏꯔꯝꯒꯗ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯋꯥꯔꯝꯒꯗ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯀꯣꯏꯁꯟ ꯑꯃꯁꯨ ꯍꯪꯉꯦ. Going to the museum, after seeing Golconda, the children also went to a museum in Hyderabad. Many old items are kept there. Many things were found when the place around Golconda was dug, like pots, jewelry, swords, etc. So one picture is provided in your textbook in which all items, many old items were gathered or were found from Golconda while digging, and some examples are also given like pots, jewelry, swords. So these are the items which were found from Golconda, and these items were, we can say these items were antique, and these are the things that were used by the people living in Golconda during those days. Selja, oh, why are these broken pieces of pots kept in the almirah? See that small plate made of bronze. That blue piece seems to be made of ceramic clay. So now the question is, why these all items are gathered and why these are kept in such in such manner, or yam chekshana thamisi kai meramgino sine mana hangningisi. So Didi, it is through all these things that we come to know how people of those times lived. So with the help of antique things, or the antique things tells us about ancient times. So with the help of these things we could imagine the nature of work and the nature of people living during those days. So with the help of these things we can imagine, or we can compare, or we can think of the people, or we can imagine of the people living during those days. It is through all these things that it is also mentioned that it is through all these things that we come to know how people of those times lived, what they used and what things they made. If all these would not have been kept here, how would you know so much about those days, those times? So in order to have the knowledge of people, the nature of work, the nature of people living during those days, it's the things that are kept in the museum, which is on in your textbook. The things would help us to understand the nature of work and the nature of people living during those days, or olden times, you can say. So write what kinds of pots have you seen around you, and try to find out from your grandparents about the other kinds of pots and pans they use in their time. So you can have the knowledge of items, or you can have the knowledge of all items used by your grandparents by gathering information from your elders, and it will help you to understand the nature of living and the nature of work during those days, and you can compare with the present day. Have you ever been to some museum or heard about it? What all things are there in a museum? So obviously everyone must have heard about museum, and we all know that in a museum we'll find, obviously we all will find antique things, and with all those things, or those all items tells us about ancient times, or will give information about the people living during those days, and we can easily compare the nature of work, the nature of people, the nature of environment with what we have today. Survey and ride. Is there any old building or monument near your house which people come to see? If yes, name it. Is there any old building or monument? ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯊꯥꯏꯅꯒꯤ ꯌꯨꯝ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯂꯩꯕ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯅꯤꯀꯣ. ꯂꯩ ꯇꯥꯔꯒꯗꯤ ꯀꯅꯥ ꯀꯅꯥ ꯌꯦꯡꯕ ꯂꯥꯛꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯗꯅꯤ ꯍꯪꯉꯤꯁꯤ. Excuse me. Have you ever gone to see an old monument? Which was that? Did you feel it told? Did you feel it told you a story? What could you know about those times from it? So if you have ever visited an old monument, you have to name it. What was that? So you have to name it, and what was your experience about the visit that you have? That is the question. And how old was it? How did you know? And kya kuire habadu madu aduga nang kya kuire se kamain khangino. So maybe information was given on board, or maybe the information was given through pamphlet, or it was written on the wall of the monument, or a signboard, or a board, and a board about the information was there on the side. So how you get information, so that you have to tell that also. What was it made of, and what colors was it? Were there any special kind of designs on the wall building? Draw them in your notebook. If there is a unique or special design, then you have to inform it. Who used to live there in the olden days? And with all this information, you may have the information of people living in that particular area. What kinds of activities took place there? Do some people still live there? Make sure, make your own museum. So Rajni teaches in a government school in Malappuram district in Kerala. Together with the children of her class, she has collected many old things from all the houses, like old walking sticks, logs, umbrellas, wooden sleepers, pots, etc. They also saw what these things look like today. Rajni and the children put up an exhibition which people from the neighborhood came to see. You could also do this. So it's very simple, and we can also organize such kind of exhibition through which we are going to experience, or we are going to show things that we use in our house, or that we use in our home. Look at the painting and tell. This painting is 500 years old. It shows Agra Fort being constructed. So it's regarding the construction of Agra Fort, and the process is given. The process is shown in the picture. What kinds of work are people doing? How many men and women are working? See how they are taking the huge pillar up along the slope. Is it easier to lift the heavy thing straight up or along a slope? Were you able to see the men carrying water in a leather bag? Masa. si masi engineering sida slope tana hena nungai bubusi haidana picture sidi loi yengba picture sidi loi khangba ngame khoina haini ma haise ko what we have learned. So now it's about the main point. So we are going to discuss the main point of this lesson. Sangeeta thinks it is useless to keep all things in a museum. How would you convince her that it is important to have a museum? Museum si kem kana daba poni hai. Kana bani hai si kamaina. Hai dunyo hai taragadi. It's very simple. In a museum we are going to see, obviously we are going to see all items, which we call it antique things, and with the help, and we have to tell Sangeeta that these antique things or items tells us about ancient times or tells us about the nature of work. I'm repeating it again, nature of environment and the nature of people living during those days, and with the help of these things we can compare the difference in the nature of living and the nature of work with the present day. So why do you think the chapter is named Walls Tell Stories? Walls Tell Stories. Hi, chapter ki meaning Walls Tell Story. Hi, se kay maram gino hai. So I think it's because of when you look at the content of this lesson, you will find it. It's about discussion of historical structure, and they tell a lot about the people, art, culture, craft, technologies, and events about the people living in all these. So that is the reason behind the name of this chapter. So I'm repeating it again. Whatever textual questions are there in your textbook, the answer of all the textual questions will be provided in the PDF format in the WhatsApp group. So you have to download it and you have to write in your classwork notebook. So thank you for watching, and I think lesson number 10. So today we have completed lesson number 10, and this is the second video of lesson number 10. And next week I'll be uploading the last lesson of third terminal syllabus, and that is lesson number 11. And I will divide it into two videos. So lesson number 11 also you will have two videos. I'll be uploading lesson number 11. I'll be dividing lesson number 11 into two parts. So you'll be getting two videos for lesson number 11, and which is going to be the last lesson for third terminal syllabus. So thank you again for watching.